Hey guys, how's this going? This is your review video for your chapter 2 mid test that you have tomorrow. Like I always say with these things, go ahead, do the problem on your own first and then watch me do it. And hopefully, if the way that we're doing it matches up, then you should be pretty set for your quiz tomorrow. So our first question here says to write the rational number as a decimal. The first one we have is -3/22. So remember, whenever we're doing this, let me get my pen out real fast. Whenever we're doing this, and we want a decimal, we need to do division here. So I have -3 divided by 22. I'm going to forget about the negative for now. I'm just going to have 3 on the inside, 22 on the outside. Now we know that 22 can't go into 3, so I'm going to add a decimal and a 0. I'll do it in a different color. And then I have to add a bunch of zeros on the end here, and I'm going to keep dropping those. So 22 goes into 31 time. That's 22. You subtract, you get 8. Drop down that. This is 3 times. That is 66. Subtract, you're at 14. Drop down another 0. And I'm only going to make you go about 2 decimal spots on these. So then your final answer here would be -0.13. For this next one, I have -5 and 340. There's a couple different ways I can go about this one. I know that my final answer, if I have a -5 here, I know that my final answer is going to be -5 point something. I just have to figure out what that something is. So again, I'm going to do my long division here. I'm going to do 3 divided by 40, so 3 on the inside, 40 on the outside. 40 can't go into 3, so I add a 0 and a decimal point, and I add a bunch of zeros in here. 40 can't go into 30 either, but it can go into 300, and it goes into 300. Let's see. That would be that's going to be about 7 times. So I'm going to put a 7 here. Let's see. So then I have 40 times 7. Oops. Let's see here, which is going to be 280. Subtract, get 2, drop down another 0. 40 can't go into 20. So I'm going to add another 0, drop that down after I put a 0 there because that does not work. 40 goes into 205 times. So my final answer would be -5.705. I have a calculator next to me, so I'm just going to check to make sure that that is right. Yep, and it is. 5 point. Actually, you know what? I forgot to put a 0 here. Actually, hold on a second. I realized after checking with my calculator that I made a mistake here. So I have my 0.0. That part's correct. And then 40 goes in 7 times, and then I add another 0. So my answer should actually be 5.075. There we go. All right, so our next one, we are doing the opposite of that. So we're writing the decimal as a fraction. So I know that my fraction is going to have a -10 in it here. And I know that over here, my answer is going to have a -9. Now we just got to figure out the rest of this, right? So I have hundredths, or sorry, this is my tenths, this is my hundredths, that is my thousandths. So I'm going to put this whole number over 1,000. And now I'm just going to figure out what I can take out of it. I know that out of 1,000, I can take 2 out of both of these. So if I divide these both by 2, now, I'm going to do it underneath, I'm left with 226 over 500. I can take a 2 out of both of those. 226 divided by 2 is 113 over 250 now. And then that would have to be my final answer. So my final answer is -10 and 113 out of 250. Okay, same thing over here. This is a hundredth, or sorry, this is tenth, this is 100. So I'm going to put that 0.98 over 100, start taking numbers out of it. I know that I can take a 2 out of both, so I'm going to have 98 divided by 2. Let me go ahead and do it in a different color. This is going to be 49. 2, 2. This is going to be a 50. So my final answer is going to be -9 and 49 over 50 because I cannot simplify that anymore. Go ahead and circle this for you too so it's easier to see. So our next one says you caught a red snapper that is 8 5/12 inches long. So you caught a red snapper that's 8 5/12 inches long. Your friend caught a red snapper that is 8 6/13 inches long. Who caught the larger red snapper? So whenever you're comparing fractions, you need to make sure that you have the same common denominators. Right now, for this first one, my denominator is 12 and this one's 13. So I need to make them both be the same thing. I don't need to worry about these whole numbers because I know that those are the same anyway. So I'm really just looking at the fractions. 6/13 and 5/12. Now, if you just know what these are, you could always do it that way. Another way to do it is to get a least common denominator on the bottom. That's going to be a little bit harder to do with 13 and 12. So actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these both into decimal. So here I have 6 divided by 13. 15 on the outside, 6 on the inside. And here I had 5 divided by 12. Now I'm going to solve for both of these, and the bigger decimal is going to be my bigger answer. So let's do this in a different color. 13 does not go into 6, so I need to make that a 0 point, and that's going to be 60. Over here now, 12 can go into 5, 0 point, and then I'm going to add a 0 here. 12 goes into 50 4 times, which is 48, 2. And then 13 into 60, I don't know my 13 facts that well, but I can figure it out. That's also going to be 4 times, 52. Left with 8 here. Now I bring down another 0. Bring down another 0. 12 goes into 20 one time. That is 12. 13 goes into 80. Let's see. 13 would go into 86 times, I believe. Yeah, let's see. 13 times 6 is 78. So I can stop now because I know that 6/13 translates into, well, this whole answer would be 8.46. And this one would be 8.41. So I know that my friend who caught the snapper, so this answer right here, this is the bigger answer. All right, if you are listening at this point in time, go ahead and give yourself a extra credit point by drawing, let's draw a race car at the top left of our paper. All right, so here we're ordering our numbers from least to greatest. When we're comparing, we need to make sure that all these are in the same form. I'm actually going to turn these into fractions because that looks easier at this point. 1.6, I know that is, 1.6, that is 1 2/3. If you did not know that, then what you could have done is just done 1 and then 6/10. 6/10 simplifies into 2/3. So now I have all my fractions. Now I'm looking for my smallest number. My smallest number looks like it's going to be -5/2. And then next I'm going to have -2/3. I'm going to have -0.5. Even though this is a fraction, remember you need to put it in its original form. Then I have 3/2, and I'm going to write it down here, 1.6. All right, so even though I change it into a fraction, you need to make sure that you put it in the right form as your final. Doing the same thing over here now. Let's see. What do I want to do with these? Let's turn these into decimals. So 3/4, I know that's 0.75. 3/4 of $1.75. -7/4. Let's see. That's -1 1/4. Sorry, 1 3/4 actually. So that's -1.75. So now I'm going to go back. Let's see. So I'm going to start with -7/4. Because this is -1.7. This is -1.75. So this is more negative. So then my next answer is going to be -1.7. And then I'm going to have, let's see, 0.6, 3/4, 1. There we go. All right, evaluate the expression here. Remember, we are just plugging numbers in. So we have -x, so that's negative. Whoa, did not mean to move all that. So we have -1/2 plus -2/5. So I know that when I have a plus and a minus together, that just forms one big minus. -1/2 and 2/5. Common denominators here. That's going to be 10. So I'm going to have -5/10 minus 4/10. So my final answer is going to be -9. Over here, I have x. So that's just 1/2 plus 2 times -2/5. So I have 1/2 plus, now I need to multiply both the top and the bottom by 2, so plus -4/10. Common denominator is going to be 10 again, so I'm going to have 5/10 plus a -4/10. This is a minus. 5 minus 4 is 1, so my final answer is going to be 1/10. All right, here we are adding and writing in simplest form, show all work. Common denominator here is going to be 15, so I need to multiply this one by 3, that by 3, so now I have 6. 15 plus -3/15. Remember, when you have a plus and a minus next to each other like you do here, that just forms one big minus. So now I'm going to have 6 minus 3, which is 3 over 15, which simplifies down into 1 over 5. Here I have 7 over 12 plus negative 1 2/3. I'm going to change that into a improper fraction. 3 times 1 is 3, 4, 5, so I have negative 5/3. I have a plus and a minus right next to each other again. So now that's one big minus. 7 minus 5 is 2. Oops, sorry, I totally forgot to get common denominators. I need to multiply this by 4. So this is 7 12s minus, let's see, 20 over 12. 7 minus 20 is negative 13 over 12, which I can simplify. I ran out of room. Negative 1 and 1. 12th is my answer there. Okay, here we are doing that exact same step, but with decimals. So I'm going to basically just use my addition rule. So if I have a negative plus a positive number, I know that my answer is going to be less negative. So I'm going to put my biggest number on top, subtract my smaller number, and then use the sign of my biggest number. So I have 2 minus 8, that's 12. This is 10. Now it's 9. This is what? 7. 12 minus 8 is 4. 3, 2. So my answer is going to be negative 2.34. Same thing over here. 15 plus a minus, that is one big minus. So I have negative minus a number, so my answer is going to be more negative. So I'm actually going to add them. And then use the sign, which is a minus. 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry the 1. That's 14. 15. Carry the 1. 8. And 2. Answer is 28.51, but that also has to be negative. All right, that comes at the end of our review. Good luck tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I will be looking at it tonight. Good luck.